Let's go. This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Coaches Corner. Another episode featuring Coach Kemp Coleman and Coach JLewis. That's myself. Talking a little top 5 under 25 NBA players that we want to build around. This is in lieu of ESPN dropping their top 25 under 25 list. And, we wanted to play our hand because we didn't quite agree 100% with what ESPN was doing. The ESPN list, if you've been living on a rock, it included Luka at 1, Zion at 2, LaMelo Ball at 3, Donovan Mitchell 4, Jayson Tatum 5, De'Aaron Fox 6, number 7 Ben Simmons, where it gets a little dicey there that he's so low. We got Devin Booker at 8, Bam Adebayo at 9, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with a sneaky top 10 for a little controversial if you ask me. But we decided to name our 5 guys that we want to build around, put our franchise keys to. And for me, my list includes none other than LUKA Doncic, number 1, bona fide superstar of our next generation. Number 2, I got Zion Williamson. He just does things differently. 3, I love me some Jayson Tatum, all-around basketball player. And to me, one of the most underrated players in our game, Donovan Mitchell at 4. I got DBook at 5. Coach Kevin's list is completely different. So this is going to invite an interesting conversation here. Coach Kev, who do you got in your top 5?
Yeah, before we go, I just want everybody to know this is about building a team around, okay? And also, not only did I not agree with the ESPN list, I don't agree with Coach Lewis's list either, or any of the lists that I heard last week. So I just want to explain kind of why my mindset coming into this. So here's my top 5. I got Ben Simmons, the most underrated NBA player in the NBA right now. Ben Simmons, number 1, who wasn't on the last list, which you can just throw his list out in the trash. Number 2, LUKA Doncic. Okay, I love Luka. I still agree he's a top 2 guy to build your team around. I got Zion, number 3. I got Jayson Tatum, number 4. And then I got my boy, De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings, who is underrated because of where he plays and because of he just gets screwed in Sacramento. No one knows who he is. He is one of the best young players in the NBA on a nightly basis. We'll talk about him, but those are my 5.
Wow. Today's game's all about shooting, right? You got to be able to shoot the 3. We got Ben Simmons, number 1 here. He may have career, 4 3-pointers made. I don't know. I give me Luka all day. For me, it's a clear-cut 1. I think the separation is so big here. The only other guy that I could see myself having an idea about building my franchise around, number 2, is Zion. But the reason why I'm going to take Luka over Ben all day is just the offensive package that he provides. He's going to give you 30, 10 assists. He rebounds at a high level, 10, 9, 8 rebounds a game. His IQ is the top 5 in the NBA. He sees the game in slow motion. A lot of comparisons with LeBron James, although he lacks all of that athleticism. He's a huge guy. He's 6'8", not your greatest defender. But also, I don't think he's going to play you out. I don't think that he's so much of a weakness that I can't win with a player like Luka. And he's got the it factor at the end of the game. I'm comfortable giving him the basketball and closing out games. His step back 3, although it's slow as hell, nobody blocks it. He creates enough separation, and then he makes the right plays. So give me LUKA Doncic. What is it? Greater than Ben Simmons.
Hey, let's leave the math somewhere else, PE teacher, okay? We don't need you to be bringing that shit in here. Listen, okay, Ben Simmons, okay, recently, would you agree Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the NBA ever? Like, we can agree on that, right?
Yeah, man. Some people would argue that he's number 1.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're making this point for me. So Greg was asked about Ben Simmons about making jumpers, and he said, obviously that would enhance his game, but he's so elite already, who gives a damn if he can't shoot? That's my point here. Okay, right now, Simmons is the defensive player of the year. He's going to win defensive player of the year. He's averaging 1.5 steals a game. He protects the basket. He can guard every player at every position. He's 6'11", 240 pounds. And he's a unicorn. He is a unicorn. Okay, I'm wearing my Team Emily shirt. Shout out to Emily today. She's fighting cancer. But also there's a unicorn on this shirt, and I wore it on purpose because that is Ben Simmons. Okay, he's a unicorn. He is the ultimate NBA player there. You know, he's averaging 6, 7, and 7. He has a 58 field goal percentage right now. So, yeah, he doesn't shoot threes. But for me, when I'm building a team, I would love the creativity of you could get Simmons and just build around it. You know how fun that would be to build around kind of this guy? I think they've done a poor job in Philadelphia building around him until this year. I think they've done a better job getting him shooters, getting him guys that can fit his game more. So I'm not going to knock Ben based on what his management team has done. I just love him as a player. He's my guy. I don't even know. I'm buying his jersey tonight just because I love this dude. I think that he is the top guy to build around. And you don't even have him in your top 5, coach.
I'm sorry. He just missed it. He's 6. It's hard for me to – it's hard for me to go on Ben Simmons because I really love him. I love him with his defensive ability. But I need these other guys. I need guys that I can give the ball down the stretch in the end of the game, in the playoffs, where I can trust that we can win. Oh, you want to really build around Ben Simmons, but you need 4 solidified, bona fide shooters. You can't have another guy, a weak link from the 3. You talked about Greg Popovich. He's got some high praise for Luka too. He's quintessential. He was built for this game of basketball. He talks about him all the time. He sees the floor like no other. So he glows about LUKA Doncic. He does have a good opinion on some of these players, but he loves some LUKA Doncic. In the playoffs last year, I was super impressed with in his first trip. First of all, the Mavericks, they don't have a great roster around Luka. He's the bona fide leader there. And he was giving the Clippers, who was the NBA favorites going into the playoffs, the business. If it weren't for some dirty plays, stepping on ankles, roughing him up a little bit, we could have seen an upset there from a 7 seed. Luka was the best player in that series, and I know that Kawhi Leonard was playing for the other team, and Kawhi Leonard's a top 5 player in this NBA. So I love Luka. I love his trajectory. Right now, his numbers in his first 3 seasons are even better than LeBron James. I can't make that out. Yeah, it's like an assist here. It's a rebound here. Yeah, the game's changed a lot, but he is the face of the league, and
whoa.
He's the next face of the NBA. My fault. I'm thinking because this is a future talk and we're talking under 20. If we're looking at those 25 and under guys, then I think he's the face of the next. Here we go. LeBron James, 5-6 more seasons before he heads out. We're gonna all be looking at Luka, and I think he's got an MVP in the next 3 years.
We're all gonna be looking at Ben. You're right. I think Ben is gonna be that guy that we look at. I love Luka. Luka's my second guy, and they're very close. It's 1A, 1B. So don't go out here hot taking me on social media telling me I'm an idiot. I love Luka. I think that he has a spur. I just want to give Ben a shout out because I think that he does. Luka does a lot of good things, but Luka still can't defend. So let's not let's chill here. Like, yes, he does all things 28, 8, and 9. He's had an incredible year. He plateaus that.
He averaged double the amount of points that Ben's going to give you and gives you more assists.
Okay, that's fine, but can he do what he does defensively? Is he ever going to win, even get close to Defensive Player of the Year? I still care about defense, coach. I still care about defense, and I still think that Simmons gives you more of a chance to win the playoffs by his ability to do all those other things than Luka will.
But at what point is it worth more to get more offensive production? As great as he can be defensively, how much does that affect winning more than what Luka does offensively? He's got a career win share of 19.6, LUKA Doncic. I almost never seen a number that high in my life. Ben Simmons has a career win share of 28.9.
No, yeah. What
the hell?
That's because of what he does. You can't necessarily see it all the time, like what he does on that court. Because it just now, you're right. Yeah, thank you for making my argument for me.
Well, PER is 25.8 for Luka, and we got Ben Simmons at 17.9. So that's a statistic I love.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm just saying what he can bring to your team. And again, we can get off of these two guys, but I just think that what Ben can bring to the team, what he does for everything, and it doesn't always show up, but what he can create. Now, it's on the GM to build around him. Now, have they done that? Kinda. But he does take a hit offensively, so they got to build around him, and I think they're starting to do that. But it's not too bad of a hit. He's still shooting 58% of the field. Now, he can't shoot threes, but you know what? At this point, they got guys around that can shoot, and this is a team game, but I still think building around him is fun. So, and then our next guy is Zion, so we both have Zion pretty close.
Yeah, well, if we take a look back at my list, I still don't have Ben in here, so I still got 4 other guys outside of Luka that I like more. We both like Zion. I love sort of this new point Zion that's now emerged. The last 3 games, he's had 30-6, 38-9, 37, 15, and 8 assists, which they put kind of the ball in his hands. Lonzo Ball is hurt right now. He shoots 62% from the field. Athletically, I've never seen someone with the explosiveness that he has. He gets to the rim. He's super cat quick. Zion Williamson is spectacular, and he's kind of filling in some of those question marks about his durability this season. Ben Simmons has durability issues as well. So those are 2 reasons why I would have Luka definitely ahead. The way he plays, he's not running himself into the wall. I think he's just going to have a long career where, athleticism isn't his bread and butter, I want to say. So I love Zion Williams. I would love to build around him, even if, like I said, he's playmaking at this 1. If you kind of run offenses through him, sort of like how Jokic does in Denver, you surround him with some shooters and some people that can defend. You have potential that this kid could be really, really special and maybe form into a winner. I know a lot of people critique the fact that he's not winning, but the roster around him doesn't, ask that, this is a winning caliber team. So building around him is going to be interesting what New Orleans does in the future. And they have some draft capital, so we'll see what they're doing in the next couple of years.
Yeah, what Zion can do is just unstoppable. He gets every board. He's almost unguardable, damn it. Like, that guy he's just a monster. The only thing that worries about me, what you talked about, his size, he is 10 beignets away from looking like me. Like, he is – you got to be very careful with this. Because I worry about, a good comp. I don't know if it's a great comp, but Shawn Kemp, right? Look what happened to Shawn Kemp. He was super athletic, super good, and his body kind of failed Shawn Kemp. Now, he had some other issues going on with Shawn
He's
Kemp.
Great character over Shawn Kemp, though. Like,
yes.
I don't see him having, 11 kids with, 8 different baby moms. Like, I see a good head on his shoulder, a very well-spoken, very great character guy. So I don't see him going down that road, but he definitely has to fix but dieting and conditioning his body. Otherwise, that it's just way too much pressure. He's had a couple injuries now, and it's very worrisome. So that I think that affects people's opinions as far as whether they're high or low on him because of the fact that it might not last forever.
And I think I think he's done well too. Like, I think he's improved his shooting. If he can hit that outside jumper a lot more, I think it's going to do his game. I don't know how well I like the fit between him and Brandon Ingram. And I know we're talking about like guys you'd build around. I think that fits weird. They don't seem like they play well together.
I think so too. I think that in time that they're gonna play themselves apart. But Brandon Ingram is a big chip player. He's an all-star caliber player, and you could get something handsome in return for him. I wasn't mad with the Pelicans giving him like the team max because you had to kind of retain him. But he does have value. It's not like signing Andrew Wiggins to the max and you're screwed. You do have potential with this kid, but he needs to play. He needs the ball in his hands, and maybe that's not the greatest fit with Zion.
Yeah, and then the one thing about Zion too, and then we can kind of go, but he is the fastest scoring start since Michael Jordan in the first 60 games. So he scored more points than most in first 60 games since Michael. So when we're talking about Zion, what he can do and what he can kind of bring to your team, he's a perfect guy to build around. Now, again, will the Pelicans be that team? They've shown that they can't with Anthony Davis, with even these guys that they have it there. So I worry about like the fit. But if I was starting a roster, he would be my third guy. He would be the guy that I would take.
He's up there. And the thing is, one thing lastly before we move on is he's improving by the day. His assist total, he was averaging like 2 last year. It's up, high 4s. He's better defensively. We're seeing more Duke Zion defensively, where he's getting a lot more steals. He's getting more blocks than last year, where last year he really was lost and he was getting beat and abuse on defense, but he's not as much of a liability there. So that just shows that he does set his sights on his weaknesses and he tries to improve them. So I like that going forward. And we already touched on the character. I love a good character person. I like him. I like where Luke is. He's charismatic. He makes players around him better. Ben has those abilities too. But I want to move on because I love my number 3 guy, and that is Jayson Tatum. This kid is maybe the best one-on-one, go get you a bucket ISO player that we have on this list, and that's some very, very high praise. He's a winner. He's taken his team to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 times, and last year he was averaging 26 and 10 rebounds. Very, very productive, and clearly the alpha 1A on that Boston Celtics team, who not necessarily was expected to be there. They were up 3-2 against the Cavaliers, and of course they ran into LeBron James. He dunked on LeBron James as a young 19-year-old rookie. Yeah. So I think that bodes well going forward. I think he has high expectations for himself. He thinks he's really good, and he plays that way. So I would love to build a franchise around a player like that, that I know that at the end of the game, I can give him the basketball and he can win it for me.
Yeah.
I love Jayson Tatum. And he's defensively, he's really good. He's underrated. He's very vocal. He gets rebounds, and he gets blocks and steals. We saw that in the playoff as well.
Hey, as a Duke fan, I've watched him a lot. And he's only 23, Coach. He just turned 23. And he's already has 2 All-Star games and 3 team All-NBA. He's a young kid, and he really, like 25, 7, and 4. So when we're looking at Tatum, he's my 4th guy, obviously. But, really the only thing that's preventing him probably from being like really, really, really elite offensive guy is that he doesn't get to the free throw line very much. So, I think that he can struggle there. But I mean, he's getting there and he's going there. I think he's going to be averaging 25 to 30 per game as we're really nitpicking with this guy. He's a great ball handler. He's a special talent. He can score. He can take games over. And like you said, I think he wants to be special. And he's got that Kobe-ness, right? He loved Kobe, and him and Kobe, he's got that kind of Mamba-esque with him. So I got to put him in that top 5.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that free throw, and I was like, wait, I can remember him getting to the line. So he does only go basically 5 times a game. He shoots 88% from the free throw line. So you want to see him do that more. But if you take a look at his playoff production, he was going over 7 times a game last year in the playoffs. So there was definitely more of a hunger to get in the paint, and maybe that is a little bit of resting your way in and not getting those bangs and bruises. But a player of his caliber, his ability to get people up in the air, he should be going to the line more, especially how efficient he is from that area. He's shooting almost 8 threes a game at 38%, and he's a 40% career 3-point shooter for his career. That's what I really, really like about him. He's a little bit of a black hole with the basketball, though. He doesn't create too many shots for others, and Jaylen Brown too. And that's one of the huge weaknesses that the Boston Celtics have. Yeah. But maybe it's not the greatest fit, and maybe we'll see that down the line. Jaylen Brown maybe getting moved later on, but their defensive ability and their progression, I would hold on to these guys as well. And I know that it was talked about Jayson Tatum and James Harden, and they didn't pull that trigger at all. And I think they made the right decision. I love what you're saying. He's 22 years old, and he's already proven. And I think it's a mindset thing. The thing with the Kobe breakdown of his game in the Eastern Conference Finals and how he watched it, I think he watched it like 10, 20 times that first night, and then he applied it immediately. That's coachability. That's understand your weaknesses and improve from it, and you can't just teach that.
No, you can't teach it, and he's good. He can score. I do think, like you said, I think the problem that he's having right now is him and the problem with Tatum is that him and Brown are basically this kind of like they have similar kind of strengths, and so they can't really excel there. So again, like we talk about, team building's hard. They really have, Celtics haven't done a great job of surrounding those guys. But I like Tatum. I think that he's in there. I think that he deserves a little bit more credit than he's getting. So that's why I put him at 4.
All right, and moving on, you got Fox at 5. He's not in my top 5. I gotta take a look at my top 10. I don't even know if he's there. Tell me why I'm sleeping on Swiper Fox.
Yeah, I just think that when you look at him, he's only 23. He's maybe he's one of the most athletic guys. When you watch him, he's a leader. He's a productive floor guy. So he's one of those dudes that's gotten better every year that I've seen. And he's just one of 7 players that's averaging 23 and 7 in this last year. So he can do it. He's got other guys there. I think he plays for the worst organization in NBA. So that's number one, is that he's playing with a really
the Wizards still exist. The TWolves still exist.
The Kings are awful. They have one of the worst head coaches in the NBA that needs to get fired now because I cannot stand Walton. If I have to watch Walton try to coach one more time, I'm going to lose my damn mind.
I'll trade you Scotty Brooks right now, today.
Yeah, you can have him because we can fire Brooks. But for some reason, Walton has pictures of somebody or something because he's still there.
Blackmail.
I think that, one thing, he doesn't shoot very well from the foul stripe. So I get that. He does struggle there. His 3-point percentage is there. It's gotten a little bit better. But I want to give him some love because he's a guy that I think would be building better if he had a better team around him. I think he's one of the best point guards in the league. He's a young player that I'd love to build around. I think he gets – for all the things that Ja does great,
Ja better. Personally.
Ja's good. Okay, that's fine. But you know what? Fox has been reliable. He hasn't been injured. He's been out there every year. He consistently puts up numbers. He may not have the spring. He's got some spring, but not the spring that Ja has. But if you're looking at numbers, raw numbers, and you're looking at what they've done in the league, De'Aaron has had better numbers. And so that's kind of why, and I tend to, being a point guard myself, I tend to be biased towards point guards, I'll be honest. So I do like building around the point position. I think that he would be a perfect fit for a lot of rosters out there.
And I think you definitely got to put a feather in the cap when it comes to durability. De'Aaron Fox, I don't know if he's missed a game in his career. Maybe he has, but it seems like he's always on the court. He's probably the fastest player in the NBA. But I want Ja Morant over him all day. I think he's better playmaker. I think I know De'Aaron Fox is great, good leadership. Well, he's a dimer. He's Ja Morant. That is, he definitely is a selfish assist guy, kind of like Trae Young. But you can't stop him. You cannot stop him. And the way that he transferred one of the worst franchises in the NBA and the Grizzlies, and they somehow are in the play. Look, they went from like the worst team in the league to getting pushed into the playoffs last year, and they're in the playoff hunt right now. And I don't see the Kings close to that.
Listen, don't be saying that they're the worst franchise ever, though. They've been with the playoffs like 20 years in a row. They run better. Yeah, they had a couple down years, but they had Gasol, they had Conley, they had all those guys. Like, I think Ja's fine.
You're right there, but so did Vlade and C-Web. That was
Kings like 20 years ago, bro.
What were the Grizzlies doing then? Like they were really bad. If you take a 20-year sample, they're in similar categories as terribleness.
The Grizzlies had Paul Gasol. Like, you forget about Paul. Like, they were okay. They were still like borderline playoffs, kind of working.
The Kings are awful.
They were okay. They made the playoffs. Like, that's chill on like the worst franchise ever. But I would say Ja's fine. For me, I'm a homer pick. I'll be honest. I like De'Aaron Fox. I think that he brings a lot of things to the table. I think he can pass well. He's a dude though that's in it for the game. So I think that's kind of like my intangible thing. You can tell he likes to work, and when he likes to work and play hard, I tend to kind of go towards those guys.
Yeah, and I gotta shout out my guys because they haven't been mentioned yet. Donovan Mitchell. Maybe the most underrated player in the league. He's probably top 3 of 5 in the MVP race. He's got Utah, the best record in the West, and probably, I think, in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell's averaging 26. It gives you 5 and 5. He averaged 36 in the playoff series against Utah last year. For Utah in that 7-game series, going heads up against Jamal Murray, who's another guy under 25 that is very impressive. And we obviously have our thoughts to him as he's going to recover from an ACL injury. And then I got the scoring machine and DBook, but they're kind of like 4/5 for me, tied. Like it's hard splitting hairs because Devin Booker is bigger. And that's one thing that I like over Donovan. But Donovan, I know he's 6'1", but he feels like he's bigger. And I don't think he gets picked on defensively. He's one of the most explosive players in the NBA. He will put it on your head. He's another guy that I can give the ball at the end of the game, and he can be effective. He dropped 57 in a playoff game. Donovan Mitchell is a winner. As soon as he stepped into Utah, they lost Gordon Hayward, and they didn't skip a beat. He averaged 20, 21 a game. I love everything about Donovan Mitchell. It's been under-touted, uncelebrated. You got Shaquille O'Neal coming for him, saying, I don't think you can do it, which was actually fair. But I love Donovan Mitchell. I would love to set my franchise. I think he is one of the most gentleman-like human beings that we have in the NBA. For him to get over the whole Gobert ignorance, and he gave him COVID as a teammate, and that's an all-NBA player. For them to kind of amend that relationship, that goes on Donovan's maturity. I love everything about him. You can pair him up with a bigger point guard. He can play the one. We saw that with Conley coming in and out of the lineup. So give me Donovan Mitchell. I want to hear your kind of opinion before I talk a little bit about DBook.
So Donovan Mitchell is the most overrated damn player in the NBA right now.
Oh no!
I don't like him. I like him as a player, as a person. But as a player, I think he's just inefficient. I just think that his field goal percentage has gone up, but it's still not great. I think it was at 41% in 2021 or 2021. He doesn't draw enough fouls. I don't think. I think he was around 5 or 6 free throws a game, kind of like when
six free throws. He makes 5 of them a game. Shoots 84 from the line.
So he's efficient, but he's not putting up, from the free throw line, he's efficient, but he's not putting up volume, right? And then when you look at his career shooting percentage, I think it's around 38, 39 from 3. It's probably somewhere around there, if I can remember right.
He's 36 career from 3. He's 38.5 this year. He shoots 9 a game. He's in the top 5 as far as 3-pointers made this season.
That's still, when you're looking at him, I think that he's fine, but Mitchell's the type of kid that tries to be Kobe, but he ain't Kobe. I don't think he's a volume guy. I don't think he's a guy that can lead a franchise. He is not someone I would ever build a team around. Mitchell is the type of kid that I think is fine if he's your second player, and he'll do well, but I don't want him to be my first option.
All right, take a look at his playoff points per game. 24 at age 21 in 11 games, and then the past 2 years, yes, they lost in the first round, but he showed up after a pretty disappointing run as a 22-year-old, averaging 21. Last year, he averaged 36, and when him and Murray were going heads up, they scored more collectively than anybody heads up in NBA history in a series. Again, they won 7 games. But I just love this kid. And maybe it's because he is such a gentleman, and I wouldn't mind if I had a daughter that they dated this guy. But
no, you would mind. Trust me. You
don't want an NBA player. No, I backtrack that statement. Don't quote me on that.
As a father, you don't care who it is. I don't care who the hell it is. I'm gonna mind.
Yeah, for sure. But it helps if the significant other does make millions and millions of dollars. I want to talk a little bit about DBook, Devin Booker, a guy that has not won at all until this year, other than, Kentucky, him and Karl Anthony Towns, they made quite a little run there in college. But Devin Booker is one of the most polished NBA scorers that we have. He's a 3-level scorer. We want him to shoot more threes because he shoots a high clip. He doesn't shoot enough. Yeah. But he can get you a bucket with the best of them. His back to the basket game in the mid-range is impressive. We've seen him hit game winners. We saw him hit the game winner on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard falling down. He goes to the bubble without, this was before pre-Chris Paul. They go undefeated. I think he took a huge leap, even though you didn't really see it statistically, but you saw him in his game maturing a little bit. I think he's going to get some secrets from Chris Paul. I think it's going to bode success going forward. And sometimes for these NBA players, it's about situation. It's about fit. It's about coaching. It's about, look at Kobe. He went with the Lakers, and before his 4th season, he's got like 3 championships, and he's playing under Phil Jackson in a franchise where you're getting mentored by Jerry West, and that could be a huge difference when who knows if Tracy McGrady's in that spot. He has all the similar talents as far as that's concerned. Yeah, but I like DBook, especially with the size and his ability 3. I think that you can fit a lot of different pieces around him, where because he can shoot so well, you can have maybe one of those guys like a playmaking point, like a Ben Simmons, where he doesn't shoot too well. You can always have one of those guys, but Booker, you always got to have 2 eyes on him at all times.
Yeah, I like Booker. I would say he's right there close to 5. He probably easily could have been my 5. He averages good points at 25, 4. He has good shooting splits. When you look at him, he's deep range. He's a shooter. He comes off the dribble well. He's a special talent. He might be one of the better players in the NBA.
71 in a game.
Yeah, and then everybody always talks about, well, he couldn't win. Well, now he can because he's got better. That also is a poor run team. So Phoenix is a poor run team. Sarver there is trash. So he had to deal with those type of things. So I think that when you're looking at what Phoenix does, I think Booker's right there. I think I wouldn't mind, having Booker. He's 24. He's going to be a very good player the next 6-7 years in this league. I would definitely take Booker over Donovan Mitchell though. That would be easy for me. I would definitely put him over there.
I hate to admit this, but we had this argument before on the pod, and we were splitting hairs, but I went Booker over Mitchell because of the size, and I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards Mitchell now because of how impressive he was. He's been this entire season, and I think he deserves credit for that. But we're talking about consistency. DBook has averaged 25 plus the last 4 seasons, and he averaged 22 in his second year. So he always is going to get you buckets, and he's more efficient, as you pointed out, that Donovan's shooting percentages sometimes teeter on the lower 40s, whereas Devin Booker shoots 49% from the field the past 2 years. That's incredible. 3-pointers, he only shoots six of them a game, and he's a career 35% from 3, which it seems like he makes everything. He should be shooting more because Donovan shoots 9. And that's where the NBA is now. But he's such a smart kid. He's a sponge. He picks things up. It's fair to say that the NBA is in good hands with the next generation.
I'm excited. And like we talked about, we're doing all these rookies. I think that the new rookies coming in, it's an exciting time because we're starting a new generation. And I think this rookie class can be that top next class. So it's fun. We're going to be talking about these guys for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I almost took Cade Cunningham, but apparently that's a league. He's not in the league yet, but I took Cade maybe 4 behind Tatum. I love me some Cade Cunningham. And then the people after that, Chet Holmgren, Imani Bates.
Yeah.
Mikey Williams down the line. I'm checking everybody out. If you're a 9th grade hooper, I'm watching your tapes right now. I want to see if you play to expectation. But again, to break this down, my list includes I got LUKA Doncic, Zion, Jayson Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, DBook, Ben Simmons 6.
Yeah, and I got Ben Simmons, LUKA Doncic, Zion Williamson, Jayson Tatum, and De'Aaron Fox. So when you're looking at those lists, those are guys that I think I would build a team around. But Ben Simmons my 101 by a big margin. Okay, that's my guy.
And we'll agree to disagree because I got this guy.
I will die on this hill that Ben Simmons should be the one.
You will. And we will come back with a video talking about kind of our 5 to 10 because there are guys that they could easily be in this top 5. So that's why it makes a controversy. That's why we have these style debates. But that's all we have for Coach's Corner this week, and we will see you next time. This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball.